alongside Cam Gigante, Jason Patrick, Sedaris Blaine, and Orlando Jones. So a really exciting cast, and I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Bienvenida Natalie, gracias por estar en el canal. Es un gusto, es un honor. Quisiera poder felicitarla por todo el trabajo y quisiera hablarle sobre Actriz. Es una de las primeras películas que vi en tu carrera, entonces coméntame una anécdota de ella.
I'm asking to Jhon to write the name of a movie because before, if you find us talking, is that because we were talking how to approach to you because you got a great resume, but we decide, like we do with all the guests, talking all about your beginnings, about Taxi Dance. What can you tell us about that early movie?
Taxi Dance. Oh my God, my first beginning. Oh wow. You like to talk about the beginning of somebody's career. Wow. I mean, that was such a long time ago. I was young and I was just starting, and whenever you're studying somewhere and somebody gives you an opportunity to be in a movie, you're grateful and you're so excited and you feel like, oh my God, you made it because you're part of the movie, and you're just applying everything that you just learned and just being a part of people around you that are also, adapting themselves in that environment. And just it was fun. It was, you didn't even think about stuff. You kind of just did stuff and you thought, oh, it's good. Oh, it's this. And I think that the interesting part about the beginning of acting career or producing or directing is that you're kind of like, you're bold and you're fearless and you don't really care what people think, and you kind of just do things because you want to do it. I feel like now, because I know a lot more, I'm more cautious and I'm looking at myself from a different point of view now, and I'm just preparing more. I think back then it was just yeah, let's just do it. Yeah, guerrilla style. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, let's try that. Hey, can you do this? Yeah, let's do it. And it was just it was interesting. It was an interesting, period in my life where I was just studying, and that was one of my first, roles that I've gotten in a movie. And of course I was absolutely thrilled, and I thought I made it. I was like, yay, I'm in a movie. This is it. I got it.
Thank you.
No, it was just fun. It was fun, and it was just the beginning of me understanding what really, acting is about, and how to approach characters, and how much work goes into making a movie overall.
Because I'm talking about Jhon and myself, we were like in a Natalie Burn marathon of movies before this interview, and it's great. And I got a silly question, but it had something important because in Amazon Latin America, there are 2 movies with you, and in one of the movies you appear as the main character is Acceleration. And I got to ask you, did you had listened to your movie translated to Latino? The actress does a beautiful, really beautiful voice, and it's great because Natalie, I was watching in Amazon. There is that movie and Fortress with one friend of the channel that is James Empresa. He was here on the channel. Yeah, and also I repeat a movie that I needed to end a long time, and I enjoyed, that is Awaken. But yeah, I need to with Michael Pared that was on the channel. But yeah, how do you feel knowing that you are now making the right choices, like the movies that you appear being in a secondary character or a first character, main character, are being translated, are being enjoyed in Latin America? You know that we love action. How do you feel? And tell us about Acceleration. Great movie.
Great movie.
So much. I mean, it was so much fun making Acceleration, and I really enjoyed it. And of course, no, I have not heard the translated version. The dubbed version went to the Latin American market, which I would like to. I mean, if I'm ever, in Brazil or elsewhere, I'd love to just, check it out, because I'm always curious, what kind of voices they pick for me, and what they see is matching for my mannerisms and stuff. So it's always interesting. I mean, every territory has their own voices that they apply. I really had fun making that film. It was a passion project. It was fun. It was interesting. I mean, it was a passion project because I it was interesting because it came to me from one of the directors, Michael Marino, and I read the script and I was like, oh, I want to make it. So it became a passion for me because I decided to produce it, to star in it, to ended up rewriting it, and ended up pretty much doing everything on that film except directing because I had Daniel Cerulli and Michael Marino directed. But other than that, I was working so hard on that film, so I was like, I have to get it made. And there were so many things that went wrong with that movie. So the fact that we made it and we made it so fast and it's out and, it's like, and it's a success in a way you're like, oh my God, that movie got what it deserved. Thank God. So everybody worked really hard on it. But it's always challenging to make movies, and especially when you're like doing them really, really, really fast. So it came to me fast and we just kind of like went into production almost like a month after, because I called Dolph and I was in another movie with him in Italy called Hard Not Falling. And I said, hey, would you like to do this movie? And I was on the plane and I remember I landed to Los Angeles from Italy, and he literally calls me and says, let's do it. And that's when I was like, and he gave me a time frame, of when he was available. And it was like a month from, like 3 weeks from then. And I was like, oh my God, I have 3 weeks to put together this movie and I don't know anything about it. I just read the script. And there were so many things wrong with the script, with like the production, and like it's complicated to make a movie, but that was from a producing point of view. As an actress, I loved, challenging myself physically, and it was just an interesting part for me to take on because, I played a mother whose kid gets kidnapped, and she pretty much does anything to get him back within, 24 hours. Actually, no, over a period of a nighttime. So, whenever she gets forced to, to get rid of certain people, and then whatever she has to do, she does it because that she's got this mother instinct that just kicks in, and she's like, I can do anything to get my son back. So for me, it was a very interesting and powerful, role to take on because of that. I was like, okay, yes, I want to challenge myself in that case. I don't have kids myself, but if I did, it would be like, that would be what's going to be like pushing me throughout that whole journey. So, and physically, of course, like I had to do my own stunts, and it was fun, and it was definitely challenging as well. I worked with Marco Zaror, who's actually in Jhon before, who helped me out with some of our stunts and second unit, filming. He's amazing. He trained me partially for that film as well. So it was great. Yeah.
Before I let my friend, another friends of the channel are on that movie. Kaiwi Lyman was here. And also one of my favorite actors, and I always say, Jhon, please interview him back, Liu Temple. But I know Jhon got more questions. And in fact, we were grading on the chat. We cannot believe that we are talking to you. Believe us.
Cool.
This is one of the interviews that, please, Natalie needs to be on the channel.
Please, Natalie, please.
No, thank you, Natalie. And
we made it work last minute as always. You see how it makes it like you just gotta, sometimes you have to stop prepping and you just go, let's do it. And that's it. That's when something interesting always happens. You gotta just kind of go with the flow and go like, I'm doing it. So here I am.
Thank you, Jhon. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hay también, bueno, de mi parte, Obsessio y Beyond the Gate. En Obsessio le gustaría actuar más de terror. Ahí estuvo Simon Phillips. Y The Beyond the Game es una película perdida para muchos acá en Latinoamérica. ¿Por qué crees que sea? Y está actuando el gran Eddie Roder.
Por cierto, si sale Simon Phillips ahí, wow.
Claro.
Okay, another friends of the channel. First, this question, and later I do the other one. The question is about Obsession with one of the friends that is Simon Phillips. Do you wanna keep doing more horror, terror roles?
Yes, Obsessio was so much fun. It was a very it's an interesting film for me to take on because it was like for the director John Reel, it was more like a tryout film. He wanted to see if it would be interesting enough for the audience to understand it. And it was only like set with 4 characters. It was mainly shot in one location. But it's very disturbing, and it's almost I believe it's like based on certain true events. So I think I was very curious about the character because she has a definitely a disorder that kind of like was in the main aspect of that movie, and yet you didn't know it until the end. So it was very interesting, like how I approached the character. I was like, well, what kind of, things that she has wrong, what kind of stuff that I need to, Google and really dive into understanding where that character is coming from. And, having to shoot in such a small space and just a very tight environment, you almost it's almost became like a play, and it almost felt like the character was just evolving as I was, performing, as I was acting throughout. And we didn't shoot in chronological order, but at the same time, because everything was so tight and the characters were so, together, and we're getting to know each other, and we're living in Italy as well. I really enjoyed that process. I had so much fun on that movie, and I think it's one of my favorite performances from me personally, because I just dived into the psychological aspect of it, and I really like characters like that. So I would definitely like to work more on psychological thrillers or dramas in the future, because that really opens up your imagination as an actor, and you really understand somebody's life and somebody's journey through a very different and deep aspect of yourself. So yeah, I like that movie a lot.
I will translate that part to Jhon because he will love to know that you love that movie. Jhon es uno de sus papeles favoritos. And now we are we are so hyped, not only about you, but because tomorrow we will talk with Eric Roberts. But yeah, and there is a movie that we cannot find that is beyond the game. What do you think is lost? We cannot find it.
Sometimes the hardest things about filmmaking is actually getting your movie not so much made, but released. People can make movies. We all find some sort of funds, and we take an iPhone nowadays and we shoot it. But when we sell the film and actually the world, gets an opportunity to view it, I think that's already a huge success for any filmmaker. To get their movies out there to certain platforms, people like you to watch it. I think the director was less fortunate with that film. I think he's still trying to put it together and figure out how to sell it. And there's different markets when different things, so different territories when different movies, different genres. So I think he's still working on how to sell that film, and I'm hoping that it will find its audience and find its platforms, because we worked on it. So whenever we work on something, we're giving it part of ourselves, and we want it to be out there for people to see it. So I'm definitely waiting for the film to come out as well. But I had fun working with Eric Roberts. That was also one of my earlier movies in my career, when I just started. So it was I was given opportunities and I was taking them, and I was like, yes, let me figure that out. Let's do it.
I was talking with a friend, and the reason that we are so happy having you here is because we love action movies. We love all kind of movies, but we really love how your career, yes, you tell us that you started in your early roles, and you had acted alongside all the big names, but we love how when we see you in the front, no, you are the protagonist, and you had made a lot of choices, not only action, TV, dramas, horror, terror. And for me, it's like the revival of that great actresses like Cynthia Rothrock and those women that we pay to see women kicking asses and being the heroes. So how do you feel, Natalie? Because we feel that you got in your bad like a big responsibility, and we know that a lot of women has now start big movies in big action roles, but you are taking a lead, Natalie. We cannot believe that you are here. And tell us, how do you feel being yeah, the protagonist, the woman in the first line in many genres. Tell us, please.
I'm grateful, and I feel like my career hopefully is just beginning. It's just starting, it's just evolving. I started, doing theater. I'm a member of the Actors Studio, a lifetime member of the Actors Studio. I'm very proud of that. I enjoy, doing plays on stage. I enjoy theater a lot because of my background also as a ballerina. So, transitioning into films and then into TV, and just putting myself into different genres. It's always something, it's challenging, it's always, interesting, but it gives me an opportunity to understand, the audience that likes those genres, but also myself, because then I have to tap into myself to see how I can connect with those genres. And I always find something new about myself. I find like it's almost therapeutic to me that I find like I'm growing as a person, as a human being, by doing different genres, by putting myself through those kind of different, lives. And the more characters I play, the more I find out things about me that I actually didn't know. So it's kind of, it's rewarding in the end, because I'm like, oh, so this is like that. I didn't even know that aspect of me existed, or I didn't know I would actually make choices like that. But now that I know this character, I am making these choices, and then it's actually, I like them. I like how I'm responding, like how I'm talking, like I'm, even walking sometimes. So it's kind of like, the more I learn about characters, the more I learn about myself. So I'm totally open about putting myself into different genres and into different, people's shoes, because I evolve as a person. So to me, that's why I'm an actress. I love portraying different roles. And it doesn't matter what it is. Like, I feel like an actor is an actor. As long as you enjoy the script and you enjoy the character and you want to work with a director, you want to work with certain actors in the team, then it's so much, you get so much joy out of it, because it's not a job. It's just, it becomes, basically part of your life. It's like, oh, that's exactly why I'm alive. I'm alive to do this, so that the audience can look at my movies and get certain emotions out of it and enjoy what I did, and be, remember my work, remember my characters. So it's definitely like, that's exactly like what I want to do. So for me, like, whenever I get presented with an opportunity, whether I'm doing an action movie, a horror movie, drama, and thriller, psychological thriller, comedy, like, I'm all in 100%, because I challenge myself with every genre that I portray, and every character I play. I then, learn something about myself, and that's when I'm like, ooh, I like that. I like those characters. I like those people's lives. Or I don't like it, but I don't completely agree with it. But but I have to find a way to like it, because then I'm still, I'm playing her. So I'm open to, exploring even more. And I feel like my career is just starting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where it's going to lead me, whether it's going to be TV, movies, or I'm open to it.
Thank you. Jhon, haz la que tú quieres hacer. Y sí, ya le hablé de esa película.
Perfecto. Yo quiero hablarles sobre una que para muchos pues suele ser un poco pues controversial, para nosotros no, porque sabemos muy bien la línea pues de la historia del director Bullerella. Pero también felicitaciones por Fallen Angel. Fallen Angel es un corto muy hermoso. Esa es mi última pregunta.
Anota el nombre. This channel has become because we and we talked with Annette Kolb and the amazing Michael Paré about Uwe Boll and Jess Bullerella, because sometimes the critics trash him, but no, channels like this are to not trash but love and respect. So yeah, tell us about working with him. And by the way, as a final, Jhon, no, it's not a question. Jhon wants to tell you that he really loved the short film Fallen Angel. You feel that is a beautiful short film.
Beautiful,
Tell wherever you
beautiful.
want. Yeah.
That was my first, leading role in a short film or in any movie that I took, and I actually produced it. That was one of my first producing projects too. And it was very important to me, because at the time I just came back again to the United States, and I was thinking of, becoming a producer as well, and just doing something as an actress where I, finally played a leading role, and I showcased myself like that. And I just could not figure out what I should do. And it was kind of interesting, because I had I had met a few people. They were very good friends of mine, and some of them, they were just like, they were, I guess they were given a harder path in life, and they were unfortunately addicted to certain drugs, and they could not, they could not leave that behind. So by observing them and helping them stay sober, and being a part of their lives, I was like, ooh, let me research that, and how difficult is it to really be, dependent on certain things in life, and not being able to just let it go. And unfortunately, one of my good friends, Jason Davis, who isn't a full-on angel, who plays the agent, and he was unfortunately an addict to heroin. And I guess now this movie is basically somewhat dedicated to him, even though he's in it. But unfortunately, he passed away, and sadly from heroin. So it is a very important movie for me today, because I thought I could somehow help people out there to see that film and just see how fast one can degrade and get lost in his own head, thinking he's got control, he understands what's going on. But unfortunately, some people are not as strong, I guess, or as fortunate to find that path. And as much as I tried to help him, it just, it didn't work out. So that movie is definitely important to me. And then working with Uwe Ball and working with Michael Burry is amazing. Like I love him. He is also a member of the Actriz studio, and we worked a lot on a few projects together. And I think he's a legend. He's done so many movies. He worked in this industry for like 40 years, something like that, maybe over 40 years, which is incredible. I mean, he's worked with amazing directors, amazing actors, and he's got a list of people that he shared the screen with, and it's fascinating to me. So I obviously enjoyed working with him. Uwe Ball is just absolutely insane, but fun. Being with him, like I remember working with him in Canada on that movie, in the name of the king, two kingdoms, with Dolph Lundgren. First movies with Dolph. It was just, he's something. He's a very smart businessman though. He's a doctor. So he approaches this industry from a completely different side, from a different perspective. So it was interesting to watch him create, art, but also understand the business strategy of it and why he's doing it. So it's a little less on the creative side, but more on like, I know what I'm doing. I know how much I can make on this movie. I know how to put it together. I know the actors I want, and I know what the final product is going to look like. So it was just, I learned a lot from him too because of that. So it's like whoever I work with, I try to like take things in that I enjoy, and I just always think, how can I apply it to my life now? How can I understand how to make movies and also like, do the certain things that I like doing and not do other things that I don't like, things that have been done to me, for instance, or things that I saw they were done, they were not so fair. So it just depends on who I'm working with. But Michael Burry, I'll work with him again any day of the week. He's great.
We got a little time, so in the meantime that we are pinching, because we cannot believe that we made this interview. Natalie, the camera is yours. Send a bit hi to wherever you want, to the channel. Tell your social media so people can follow you. If there is any project that people need to stay attend, tell it. For us, it's a bit thank you. Go ahead.
All right, so you guys can follow me on social media, obviously on Instagram, Natalie _Burn, and on Facebook, I'm Natalie Burn 01. On Twitter, I'm also Natalie Burn 01, and I have a website, natalieburn.com, so you guys can easily, find me on all kinds of things. There's an email that you can reach me to, natalie@natalieburn.com, and I respond, as you know, because you guys reached out to me. I always respond to my fans. If people want to interview me or work with me, I'm just grateful to collaborate with great people and people that actually care about our industry and want to make art and want to work and want to do things that are memorable and want to have fun. So I'm all for it. I have a new movie coming out later this summer, actually, August 4th. It's going to be a pretty big theatrical release, and the movie is called Till Death Do Us Part, and it's an action thriller horror. It's a genre-bending film. which is going to be extremely fun and really, really exciting. And I think you guys are going to enjoy it the most because you like me in action, but you're like also like me in horror, and there's comedy elements to it too. So it's just it's a fun thrill. I can't wait for you guys to check it out. And it's directed by Timothy Woodward Jr. And I'm starring in it alongside Kemp Gigante, Jason Patrick, Sedaris Blaine, and Orlando Jones. So a really exciting cast, and I can't wait for you guys to see it.
We will ask you for the picture, and hopefully this movie gets translated because the Latino voice for you is really beautiful. The actress does a really beautiful job. ¿Cierto, Jhon? La voz en latino de Natalie es muy linda, ¿no?
Muy linda.
De latino.
Quiero brindarle un fuerte aplauso a Natalie.
Oh, bravo.
Bravo.
Yo no me lo creo. Bravo.
Natalie.
We are feeling the same way that when Michael Paré was here, because he was in the back, he got the posters from Eddie and the Cruisers and Streets of Fire, and we were like, is that Michael Paré? And yet,
I'm not at home, so I don't have a possibility to film myself with like nice posters. So I'm sorry, but you know,
don't worry.
Enjoyed it.
We got you, and that's the most important. No, thank you.
Thank you so
Jhon,
much, Natalie. God bless you. God we. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie.
Have a nice day. Bye, guys. Bye.
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 Bye.